Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Quick info before we begin. Today's video has 2 stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user throwaway128931. Significant others 31 female, best friend 30 male, takes every possible chance to bully me 33 male in front of my significant other. Today, he pulled me aside and said that I am not good enough for my significant other and the thought of us together disgusts him. My significant other and I have been dated since before COVID started. We started dating a few weeks before the pandemic stuff happened, so over 3 years now. We have been super happy together and got a place together at the start of the year. She has a friend, let's call him John. They have been best friends forever since they were kids. He is very openly gay and is married to his husband. I met John once before the pandemic. He and his husband joined us on our second date. It was only recently that he was actually around and tried to do stuff with us and his husband. Honestly, I never liked John. He has always been someone who demands everyone pays attention to him. If you have an interesting story, he will constantly try to interrupt you and try to tell his own thing that is always much cooler. If he cannot one-up you, he will immediately try to change the topic, or someone calls him out on his BS. He has always been somewhat hostile to me, to the point where I never really liked it. In the last few months, he has pretty much just straight up started bullying me, criticizing everything from my clothes to my appearance to even things I like. Last week, it got super effing bad when both me and my significant other mentioned we are going on vacation to Japan for a month, something we both wanted to do. John was apparently really hurt by it. From what I understand, he and my significant other talked about that for years, but never did it due to COVID. I tried to be nice and suggested he and his partner come with us, and he told me he would never want to go anywhere and be seen with a loser like me. Okay. Tonight was one of our mutual friends' birthday, and John showed up after being invited by my significant other. At one point in the night, he pulled me aside when I went to the bathroom and spent 5 minutes throwing an insane amount of shade at me. Everything from how I am disgusting to I am garbage. Then, he outright told me to break up with my significant other or he would do it for me because our relationship disgusts him. I have told my significant other multiple times like, hey, can you tell John to cool it? I don't like this. I don't want to be around him. John immediately denies everything I say he said. He also only does it when my significant other is not present. Tonight I told her word for word what happened and she just said she doesn't believe me at all. She has known him for a quarter of a century and she has never seen anything like that. So I asked if she thought I was lying, and she said I was just embellishing what he was saying and she can tell he is unhappy about our relationship, but that doesn't change anything for her. She loves me and that is that. Honestly, I feel hurt. I feel she is taking his side always and it just makes me feel like crap. I don't really know if I can continue this relationship. It just feels so stupid. Well, OP, I absolutely understand that you're feeling unappreciated, of course, definitely invalidated when she says that she just outright doesn't believe you. And then the crappy deflection when you asked her if she thought you were lying, it just gives me a bad vibe, like she just wants to stay out of it and leave you and John to solve it amongst yourselves when the problem is that she's in the middle of it. John is her friend and he doesn't like you for whatever reason that he's got in his head that he needs to get rid of you. And I'm sorry to say, OP, but from what you tell us, apparently John is infallible in the eyes of your girlfriend, so this is a fight that you're gonna lose. Because your girlfriend is not acting like a proper partner, she's not standing up for you, she's not really talking to John, she's just telling him that you are complaining about something and he dismisses you, saying that he didn't do anything of the things that you accused him of. She takes him at his word because why would he lie, and then you're the liar. So again, OP, unless you can prove to your girlfriend that John is the toxic one in this whole thing, I don't see a good outcome. And what about you guys? What do you guys think is gonna happen, or what would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Not Really an Elf says, just because he doesn't want to shag her doesn't mean he's not jealous that someone else is taking up her time. Unless there's something you're not telling us, it sounds like he's annoyed that his bestie is giving time and attention to someone who's not him. Has he ever approved of any of her relationships? And OP responds, the only other previous relationship she had prior was an abusive one, and he played a big part of getting her out of that relationship, according to her. Also, yeah, I can somewhat see that. When we finally moved back recently, apparently he kept going on and trying to make plans with my significant other almost every single night. And that never happened as she works a fairly stressful job now. Rainer Hex says, your significant other's friend sounds like an obnoxious ass clown. However, the biggest problem is her. Instead of standing up for you and putting Craphead in his place, she accuses you of lying or embellishing. She even sits there like an idiot when he does the more subtle BS towards you right in front of her. Since she decides this douchehead is more honest than you and she dismisses you, that speaks of her character. I would leave her behind and find a woman that only keeps those that celebrate the relationship around and would never sit there like a dumbass letting some F-wit mess with her man because you don't have that with who you're with. Archangel 1962 says, one thing I don't understand, why have you put up with this for so long? The second time he trash talked you, I would have just told him to F off, and every subsequent time after that he tried to talk to you alone, I would have just walked away. Why did you engage? Why don't you talk to John's partner? Tell him what's been happening. Ask him if John is really gay or maybe he's bisexual and has carried a torch for your girlfriend. If he wants to F around with your relationship, you can F around with his. As for your girlfriend, I don't know. On the one hand, if you break up, John wins. But on the other hand, is there a future in a relationship where your girlfriend does not have your back? The petty in me would get a voice recorder, record him trash talking you, play it back to your girlfriend saying, that's why you should have believed me, we're done. And then walk away and leave them all to sort out their crap. Sorry, I probably haven't been of much help. At the very least, don't engage with John anymore. Anytime the two of you are left alone, just walk away. Whatever else you decide, good luck. And OP responds, generally, I just ignore him when he does it. However, when he threw all that shade at me, he was literally blocking the hallway, preventing me from passing. I am a small guy, and John is a big guy. His partner is frankly just as bad as he is, even worse in some regards. All he ever does is put down people. Any comment you say to him, he treats it as a slight. Apparently, he was livid that my significant other made a suggestion for the look of their new place. My significant other and he don't really get along. Going to try to record him. OP's edit. To clarify something, my reaction is generally to be extremely nice and just take it on the chin. All of her other friends love me, and some of them have mentioned they really dislike John. I need to leave for work, but I am going to try talking to her one final time, and if that fails, try to record it. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to give me advice. Alright, well, the community has different theories as to why John possibly could hate OP, however the big thing here is that OP's girlfriend is not standing up for him. And we also got a better picture of John's interactions with OP thanks to OP's comments. So now it's time to move on with the update to see how this story ends. But before that, of course, you know that here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on to the update. I tried to talk to my significant other. I sat down with her and tried to have a serious conversation with her. That resulted in John stupidly ranting about how much he thinks I am garbage over WhatsApp. He is apparently not racist, but his reasoning is, 1. I am nowhere near attractive enough apparently for her. I am batting way above my league, and the only reason she is with me is her pity. 2. My career as a software developer contributes absolutely nothing to mankind. It gives me a better than everyone attitude. 3. I am painfully boring and just being around me makes him want to assault me physically. 4. My voice is unbearably grating on him. I made a few comments explaining how petty that sounds and he lost it over WhatsApp. I even got some of her own friends to comment and say that they don't like to be around John. One of her friends ranted to me about John, saying he tried to make her destination wedding about him and his husband. Today, I sat down with my significant other again, explained how I felt and showed her the conversation and the comments. I went with the angle of, I don't want you to cut your best friend out of your life, I just don't want to be around this person at all. thinking it would be diplomatic. She took it very poorly and accused me of being manipulative and egging him on in the conversation. I said, "What is your problem with me?" She said I am being extremely manipulative and I am doing what her ex tried to do by controlling who she can be friends with. She told me she didn't want to be around me and needs space and decided to go stay with some family while she sorts out her feelings. Then, this evening, she messaged me and said our relationship is over and she will collect her stuff when she calms down. She doesn't want to discuss it as her decision is final. I am in shock right now. On top of that, it seems like she cut ties with a bunch of her friends who supported me. I don't understand her reaction at all and I just feel devastated. Part of me wishes I kept my mouth shut, but I just cannot take being bullied and it being ignored by someone who is supposed to love me. I feel sort of hurt, I guess. So, sorry, but thank you for all the nice comments. Well, OP, this totally sucks, but I have a theory that might make you actually feel a little bit better. Your ex-significant other is absolutely brainwashed and manipulated by John, and I'm pretty sure you dodged a big bullet because you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who will never have your back and always support the other person in the relationship, John. Also, I'm starting to think that you are not the first boyfriend that John has gotten rid of. I mean, she even said that you were acting just as manipulative like her ex-boyfriend, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the person that John helped her get away from. So now I'm starting to wonder if John has done like idea inception with your significant other to get rid of you guys. Anyway, OP, like I said, bullet dodged. So all the best in the future, and thank you so much for sharing. Take care. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning of the video, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user HelplessDad2785. Am I the a-hole for interrupting my son's date so he could pick up his little sister? I'm a single father, 43 male, to 2 children, Max 17 male and Liza 8 female. I usually have Liza in after-school clubs so that I'm able to pick her up after work. However, last evening I was given some work that had me working overtime. I did try my best to negotiate out of it, but my manager told me that the assignment was to be completed by that night, so I just did. It was nearing towards 6 p.m. and I just knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Liza, so I called Max and asked him to pick her up. He responded by saying that he couldn't because he was on a date with his girlfriend for their 6-month anniversary. I told him that I understood, but that I really needed him to get Liza and that I'd make it up to him for interrupting. He just angrily turned off the phone and I thought that while he was mad, he had just decided to pick her up. 30 minutes later, I receive a call from Liza's school asking where I was because the school was about to close down and no one was there. Luckily, one of Liza's friends' mother said they'd drop her off and that was all good. However, I don't really like it when Liza goes with that particular friend. Not because of the friend, but because of the mother. She has this habit of asking math questions in the car that she knows Liza is unable to answer and then criticizes her over it. It's all just very mean. I called Mask and asked him where he was and that he was in big trouble when he got home. He just told me that he was busy and to leave him the hell alone. He came home at around 9 p.m. I told him he was grounded and that he was not allowed to use the car for a good 3 weeks. At that, he got all mad and said that it wasn't his fault I was failing as a parent and unable to afford someone to collect Liza. Just want some insight on this situation. I feel like I might be the a-hole because he was on a date and it's not his responsibility to pick up his sister when he has plans of his own. So, am I the a-hole? Well, OP, no, in my opinion, you are not being the a-hole and your son is being a brat. Yes, it is not his responsibility to pick up his sister, but you're not asking him to do it every day. It's not like you're parentifying him or anything like that. You're asking him to contribute, to get you out of a jam. Honestly, OP, your son's attitude is a little bit worrisome, considering that he's a 17-year-old kid. I mean, he's almost an adult. He's not a kid, let's face it. And him telling you as a single dad that you are failing as a parent because you can't pay for somebody somebody to pick your kid up? That's messed up and hurtful, and he did it on purpose. What, because you interrupted his 6-month anniversary date? And also hanging up on you for asking him to help you out? Yeah, his attitude absolutely sucks. I do not know why he's like this. I don't know if it's because something happened to him, trauma, maybe he misses his mom, I don't know. But you definitely need to address that. So in summary, OP, no, I do not think you are the a-hole, but I do think your son is. And what about you guys? What do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Gonzo the Great 22 says, okay, I'll take the bullet here. Not the a-hole. You're not failing as a parent. You had to work overtime, not drinking or effing off. Your son was in the wrong here for not helping, turning the phone off, and calling you out for it. But you two need to talk this out and discuss expectations. If you expect him to be a part of the contingency plan, there needs to be crystal clear communication on that and what happens to car privileges when he doesn't. Cameron Dotka says, so here's the thing, I get Max's response. Our kid is 19, I was 17 once. I get it, I really do. But the OP made arrangements that were supposed to work and then something dropped on his lap. Whether we like it or not, this happens. When it happens, families ought to be a team, and in this case, the team needed Max to go and get his sister. Again, Max is 17. Our kid has gone 8 hours without returning texts, but these were about simple things like, you coming home for dinner? Or what have you, not I'm stuck at work, etc. Anyway, not the a-hole. Caught in a crap situation and could happen to any of us, yeah. Sweet Mercy says, posts like this makes me feel hopeless for us as a society, as a species. You'll get a lot of responses from people who haven't raised kids and many that still are kids and they haven't been taught responsibility and family. Asking your son to help on an unexpected situation is not and should not be a problem. Your son's response is entitled and gross, honestly. While being disappointed at the interruption would be fine, even appropriate, hanging up on you is disrespectful and refusing to help is selfish and disgusting. Like societies, family only works when everyone contributes. Your son using your car is a privilege, not a right, and it's up to you to extend that privilege to him or not. The hanging up on you and the disrespectful way he spoke to you is all on its own enough reason to, at the very least, suspend that privilege. You do not have to tolerate disrespect no matter how upset he was. Additionally, financial woes do not indicate how good or bad someone is at parenting, something your son is going to be painfully aware of very soon. If you give him money for allowance or anything else, help him learn by suspending that privilege as well. This is a teachable moment. Let him see there are consequences for his choices. Please, I implore you to ignore the ridiculous comments here that are characterizing asking for help as any other thing than that. You should be able to ask your family for help, including your nearly grown son. Do not listen to anyone who says otherwise. There's a difference between asking for help in an unexpected pinch and forcing him to be a regular unpaid babysitter. Do not listen to the BS. You are not the a-hole, and I hope like hell you stick to your guns about the car privileges being suspended. His behavior was selfish and disrespectful, and he needs to experience consequences for that. Also, inform your employer that you have responsibilities at home that take precedence and you require advance notice of any extra hours required or you won't be available. They cannot expect you to scramble to find childcare at the last possible moment. OP's edit. This is the third time I've asked Max to pick up his sister in the span of a year and a half. They were just driving around somewhere from what I know, and I only expected him to drop her off and then continue his date. Also, he does not pay for gas or anything, he just drives the car. Some people are asking why I don't have a nanny. Money is tight. Max's and Liza's mother is not present in their lives. She and I separated about 4 years ago. I gained custody of the two kids as she believed it was for the best. Although we divorced, our relationship stayed the same. She'd occasionally come over and take the kids out. She did pass, and I understand that might have many effects on Max. And no, I did not think of socializing myself with the parents at Liza's school. I am at work most times, so I haven't found time outside of the yearly parent meetings. Please refrain from insulting my son. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and OP was able to give us a little bit more context. So now it's time to move on with the update to see how this story ends. Hello all, thank you very much for the comments left on my post. Spent a good hour going through threads and seeing what everyone had to say. Reading the comments made me realize that I had been quite soft with Max's upbringing, which made him feel comfortable speaking to me the way he did that night. I also have to admit that I have spoiled him, handing him everything he asks for, probably because I don't want him to feel like he lacks all the things his peers have because he doesn't have his mother in his life. Not really the best reasoning. I had a discussion with Max about what happened a few days ago while Liza was away. He did try his best to have his grounding removed and car privileges back, but I stayed firm and that kind of shocked him. He's used to getting his way. But he understood he was in the wrong. Max did get quite emotional during the conversation and apologized for his behavior that night and before. He knew that while he was too late to fix his past mistakes, he'd make sure not to repeat them. He even offered to pick Liza on days when he didn't have soccer training or plans. Also, after many comments advising me to do so, I made an anonymous complaint to HR about my manager's tendency to bring up last-minute tasks. Apparently, a few other people in my department have also made this happen, but were unafraid of saying anything in fear of losing their jobs. From what HR has emailed us, it's currently being dealt with. Additionally, I was embarrassingly unable to say anything to Liza's friend's mother except for giving her a few dirty looks while she wasn't looking. There were many comments questioning what I would do in the case this happened again, and right now, it's Max. We've had a mutual agreement and he's understood that he needs to also help out in the family. The situation isn't ideal, but we're making it work. Once again, thank you all very much for the comments and advice given. Well, OP, I'm gonna call this a happy update. I mean, almost happy because you still need to deal with that awful mom that teases your daughter. But regarding Max, it looks like you're on the right track. I mean, at least he understood that he was being a brat and is willing to help out. So that's good. Now let's help out Liza with that crappy mom. Thank you for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.